Welcome to the Fink It Isn't Until It Is podcast. I'm Finn.
I'm Tim.
I'm Guy.
In which we discuss the various moving parts in a life in music. So welcome to episode 7 of the Tour Diaries. We're calling this one a team dismantles because we're done, we're at home, and we have dismantled. For now, I'm off again in a few days. But Europe has been prepared and done and dismantled.
Exactly, and all the gear has been taken back to its various locations. Actually, the dismantling was done about an hour after the gig, so it all went to various places. It was all a bit sad, actually. We had to give our keys to the bus back. Which you can see on Instagram with me playing the Romeo and Juliet sad theme in the background as we handed our keys back. It
was a sad moment to say goodbye to the bus because you become quite at one with your bus. It does become your sanctuary and your home and your private area and just becomes your everything on tour, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's your one thing that remains stable, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. It's a little home. It's a little TARDIS. I had a weird moment actually once when I was on the bus at night and everyone had gone to bed and I was watching a music documentary, and they were talking about tour buses. They were like talking. It was an XTC documentary, and they were talking about how they'd shared a tour bus with the police. And how it had been like, quite neighbourly and they were getting on all right, but it smelt a bit and so on. And then I just looked up from where I was watching and I thought, oh, hang on, I'm on a tour bus. I'm literally on a tour bus. I'm not sitting in my bedroom somewhere or hotel room or whatever. I'm literally on a tour bus while I'm watching a programme about tour buses.
That reminds me of how ridiculous it is that on the PlayStation, Ash bought a driving game. So you're on a bus, driving, playing a game, driving. And it's like, surely there's something else you want to do. Yeah, so which gigs are we covering in this episode then?
Well, we last spoke when we were sitting outside the back of Paradiso. So we are going to we'll talk about Paradiso, we'll talk about Zalla, and then we'll talk about the 4 final Germans, which were Mannheim, Cologne, Hamburg, Berlin.
Well, seeing as Paradiso is Guy's happy place, Guy, do you want to tell us about Paradiso, my brother?
Oh, I don't really remember it, mate.
Good times.
No, I'm joking. I do remember it. It was, it was amazing, mate. It was obviously, there's a risk with a venue that you're so fond of. There's a risk that you build up an expectation in your mind that it's going to be like a mind-blowing 10 out of 10 gig, and then if it isn't, that's a bit of a sort of letdown, really. You can feel a bit deflated after, but this was not that. It was absolutely an 11 out of 10 gig from, the crowd, the building, the crew, the fella doing monitors, the audience, it was just absolutely amazing. So I couldn't have been happier. What about you guys? Were you was it everything you'd hoped and more?
Well, it's very wise that you say that, because often when the ones where you go, oh, this gig's going to be amazing, it turns out to be average, and the ones that you fear and dread and think are going to be awful, like Manchester, turn out to be absolute bangers, and you're like, oh, that's amazing. But no, Paradiso, it's so warm and so inviting. All of the Dutch gigs are. The venues are so nice. They love live music. They do it every day. And so everything works. And it was just such a wonderful, vibey gig. Very cool moment. Massive guest list. And everybody was on form. And, oh, man, I thought Paradiso and Zalla were just lovely shows. Really deep, really cool, very vibey. And we were definitely, rolling and on form at this point. We're definitely getting it done. It was really great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the risk of scuppering any future Paradiso performances, it occurred to me like halfway through the gig that I don't think it's possible to do a bad gig. I mean, unless you yourself are rubbish. If you're doing all the right things, I don't think it's possible to do a bad gig at Paradiso, because it's so amazing. The crowd is so lovely. And also, I'd forgotten about this, but due to the kind of tiered nature of the venue, like there's 3 levels. There's, ground floor, level 1, level 2. You can look up, and it's like kind of looking at a beautiful hillside in the nighttime with twinkling lights, because you look up and you see, people at every level. And you have to kind of remind yourself to look up, sort of when I'm doing my kind of smiley face while they're applauding at the end of Yesterday Was Hard on All of Us or whatever.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself to also look up there as well as down there.
It's true, man. It's very true.
It's so wonderful.
Yeah, we had a lovely. It was so nice. I even got some record shopping in at Record Palace. I'm listening through to it now at home. Just going through the records. I bought a really toasted Oscar Peterson record, which actually isn't very toasted. It's actually in great condition inside, which is really nice.
Is that the one where you both went to a record shop?
Not me, no. That was in Zurich. I only made the mistake of going into a record shop with Finn once, and I won't do it again. I spent so much money. But I think Finn might have broken all records on shopping this time, and I don't want to chuck him under the bus, but I'm wondering if he actually let his missus see the full extent of what he'd bought. I know Finn was decanting them from various bags into one bag, so it didn't look quite so blatant.
Yeah, I'm slowly introducing them into the family area. The Conway Twitty record went down a storm last night with my 3-year-old. She thought his hair was hilarious, so I think we're good there.
Conway Twitty?
I know, I bought a fantastic Conway Twitty record. I couldn't help it. South Park, it's just done it for me.
Amazing.
So after Paradiso and Record Palace, which was great, bought that lovely Oscar Peterson original on Verve, we went to Zwolle, which was an absolute delight. We love this venue, don't we? It's actually quite small. It packs quite a punch.
Yeah.
It's always... If Paradiso is a big venue, lots of tiers, lots of balconies, Zwolle, head on in Zwolle, it's very, very a great venue for that little city to have. I mean, it's really a fantastic venue.
It really is. I mean, it's amazing that they've got that, and they look after it very well.
It's in really great nick, and the crew are fantastic, and that was actually quite an intimate show. It was very intense because after the kind of largesse of a Paradiso. To do a head-on, which isn't like it's not a club show, it's not a Thekla, it's not 400 people in a boat. It was still a real proper gig that means, no phoning it in. But it was actually almost relaxing to do that show before the big German runs, I thought.
I know, I'd forgotten how I think it was when I went out just before Finnegan went on, and I did my usual thing of going out into the auditorium. And I opened the door to the auditorium and I realized, oh my God, there's actually nowhere for me to go because it's so packed already and it's really small and everyone's really kind of smiley and inviting. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to make my way through this crowd without kind of going, oh, hello, I'm the drummer, like kind of thing. So I just had to kind of put my head down and do it. And I managed to make my way to Rob on the sound desk where I was to stand and watch Finnegan from. But it was really... It was like sort of walking through a really nice someone's really nice house party where everyone kind of knew each other and everyone was smiley and everyone was chatting, and I was thinking, God, it's really great, but it's kind of intense at the same time. There's no anonymity here, and you got the impression that everyone kind of knows each other a little bit.
Yeah, right. Small town vibes.
Exactly. But it was good.
Yeah, as was the record store I went to that day. That was really exceptionally good. I cleaned out their Dr. John section pretty hard. But after Zwolle, we knew we had a day off, which was great, which we really needed at that point.
Yeah.
And then we had 4 jumbo German shows to get through at the very end, 4 in a row, as we made our way home. First off was Mannheim, wasn't it?
Yes. Which I'd never been to before.
We parked the bus up. We had a door problem, didn't we? We had a bus door problem.
Yeah, the door stopped working, so Carsten had to leave the engine on all the time.
It's a sizable problem.
That is a pretty big problem.
Do you understand the mechanics of that, Guy? Why did they have to leave the engine on? Why did it work when the engine was on and not when it was off?
I'm afraid that my knowledge of bus mechanics is severely limited, Mr. T, but I'm willing to take a guess if you want me to. I'm going to.
I thought you might have got the lowdown from Carsten.
No, I didn't get the lowdown from Carsten. Had he explained it to me, it would have gone over my head anyway. But what it is that there's a compressor that compresses the air that makes that satisfying, hissing sound before, for the split second before the door's going to open or shut. And once it's got a leak, you're in trouble. So I think it had sprung a leak. Now that means that the air just leaves, obviously. So he has to keep the engine running. So it keeps on compressing the air. So there you go. And I know that these buses can idle for like 3 days on a tank of diesel, because of that story of that time when, was it Tricky's bus was snowed in a blizzard in America, and they had the engine running, obviously just keeping the bus alive, and the cops showed up and said, you are going to let on as many people who are stuck out here in their cars as possible onto your bus and keep them all alive on your idling engine for 3 days, whether you like it or not.
Oh my God, really? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know where we heard that story, but yeah.
Probably Simon, who used to tour manage.
It probably was Simon, yeah. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, so these buses can idle for days, but obviously it's not ideal, and Carsten was very unhappy about it. And then he did manage to fix the compressor problem. That day he had a bit of shenanigans. He bought the wrong compressor initially on poor advice from not his fault, and then the next day I think he managed to do a sort of quick patch up using cable ties. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I think when we arrived in Cologne at the park, we had to park in this kind of druggy park. The bus drove through this park and just parked. And 2 guys from the bus company showed up to fit this compressor.
Right. Okay.
In the morning when everyone was still asleep. And the problem with the new compressor was it was really noisy. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah, it was really noisy. It sounded like someone was flushing the loo.
It was super noisy.
But after Mannheim, which was a really, again, a truly majestic German show, really great, lovely audience and really rowdy. We had a great time.
Yeah, very rowdy, weren't they? But listening, but rowdy as well. It was another Monday night show. I think there's something going on about Monday night shows.
Interesting, because I guess
it's a Monday, so I'm going to go fucking nuts, and I don't care.
Yeah, it did feel like that a bit.
I mean, Cologne, Mannheim on a Sunday night was pretty dead, but there wasn't much to do in Mannheim on a Sunday.
That's right.
Apart from pray. But
wasn't there some arcade machine in the hotel or games room that you guys?
Oh yeah, there was a games room. I mean, that's being rather generous. There was a pool table which we managed to take from the locals and play on. And Finnegan was finally defeated at a sport, which was great to finally witness Finnegan's defeat, which was great.
Yeah, this has become a thing, really. Unfortunately, Finnegan has become the winner of all things, and I think he's actually a bit self-conscious about it now. He's a bit like, I'm not playing to win. I'm only playing because it's fun.
Is he? Don't you buy that? That is absolute. His coquettish display fooled no one. Apart from possibly you, Mr. T. He was thoroughly thoroughly enjoying his endless victories until Ash turned up and wiped the floor with him at pool, which I think we all vicariously enjoyed that a bit, didn't we?
Yeah, I said. Well, I filmed it. I mean, I enjoyed it so much I filmed it. But yeah, I mean that was worth it. Mannheim hotels we have enjoyed, and Cologne was also like another big old box, wasn't it? Like box. Mannheim was a big old box. Alta something. Alta
Fürwache, which means fire station.
So after these 2, we hit one of our favourite venues that we've played before, Fabric in Hamburg, which is brilliant.
Absolutely amazing, lovely place. A bit Paradiso-ish in its tiered situation. You know, you have to kind of look up.
Well, also a bit like that venue in Switzerland, Mühle Hunzigen, that we played.
Yeah.
Where you have a balcony behind you as well, or above you and behind you, and you have the crowd just everywhere in this Fabric venue in Hamburg. It's a super vibey venue to see a band. If the audience want to see the band and shush, which they did for us, which was great, but I can definitely imagine that being a very chatty venue if you don't get their attention. But we played Fabric back in the day, didn't we? We played it in 19, didn't we, maybe? Or was it 17?
14, actually.
14. Wow.
The Hard Believer tour, yeah.
I mean,
we played it there.
Such a great place. I really, really loved that show. And knowing that we're almost home, you know, when we got to Hamburg, you know, we're almost there. It's just like, that show had the last of our energy, I think.
Yeah. It was very strange knowing that a bunch of people could literally look down on me and see all my kind of gubbins that I have to sort of do during the show, you know, because I'm you know, putting the guitar down, picking up this stick, muting that, whatever, you know, and I was trying to kind of not be self-conscious about it the whole time, but There's an element of me that was also showing off a little bit, like, look at all the things I'm doing.
Exactly.
were they actually dropping coins on you from above, Mr. T, or was that all a mirage?
Yes,
they were.
No, they were. It was incredible.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. That was entirely me and Finn fucking with you. Sorry, bro.
What, are you putting coins on my cymbals? And
there
shit?
were. Your drum kit was heavily
Yeah, we
littered
put coins all over your drum kit, bro. And then when you were playing, they were falling
so
off.
that
And
when you're playing,
it
they'd fall off and slide around, and it was brilliant for us. And what made it better was your growing confusion, the way you kept looking up and around to see what was happening.
Yeah.
Me and Finn were thoroughly enjoying the fact that
I'm going to have the last laugh.
Taking 2 and 2.
I'm going to have the last laugh because I'm going to, as I said in that text message, I'm going to donate all the coins I've received to Trump's 2028 Forever Your President campaign. Yeah. So
Well,
Tim has his own super PAC.
Probably make all the difference.
all right. Well, yes, but yeah, Fabric, amazing. I'm trying to think what, if anything happened during any of these gigs that we need to note, like any Finnegan behaviour. He did do this thing at one of the gigs. He does this thing where he runs off stage when he's had a good gig, and he jumps up in the air and clicks his heels together.
He does do that.
Like a little sprite.
Cockney Sparrow.
Yeah, exactly. He does that, and I think
Like
he did that
a little
in
Disney character.
I think he did that in Cologne because it was a massive stage, you know. So he thought, right, well, I'm gonna do this because I can.
But then by the time we get to the final show of the run, Berlin, the third hometown show, because London's a hometown show, and Paris is a hometown show, and Amsterdam's a hometown show.
Bristol.
Bristol's a hometown show. We get to Berlin, and we're ready to expend all of the energy we have in the tank on the last show, which was a monster. It was a massive show, and
Yeah.
I felt the size of the venue when I walked out. I was like, okay, this is one of the big ones, and let's give it the lift and see what we can do. And I think we played. It was a big room, big and wide and full.
Yeah.
I think we gave him a great end of gig show.
It was an odd day. I remember because I remember feeling it was the last day, and you just have that in the back of your mind, like, this is the last time I'm going to be doing all of this. So I've got to kind of think, I'm going to get my stuff off the bus. At some point, the bus is not going to be here. You know, this is the last time I'm going to have the chance to do such and such. Like, there was a Burgermeister branch next door, and Ash was definitely like, I'm going to have a Burgermeister because this is the last day of the tour. So there's all sorts of little things like that, you know.
Yeah.
Ash was quite cunning about that, by the way. Because he said to me, oh, I'm definitely going for a Burgermeister. Are you up for one, Guy? And I was like, yeah, go on then. I'm totally up for it. And then he announced that Guy really wants a Burgermeister.
Yes.
So I'm reluctantly agreeing to go. It's like absolute
cheeky
lies.
Little bastard. I didn't realise that happened. That's very, very cunning.
He did. But yeah. No, you're totally right. I mean, you feel untethered. The last day of the tour, I mean, yeah, I was a wreck anyway, but you feel untethered from your reality, because you know that tomorrow morning I was going to wake up in a hotel airport with a completely different set of circumstances. I'm no longer surrounded by you guys. We're not doing a sound check. There is no dinner.
There is no dinner.
No one's got any jaune. You know, it's like you're totally untethered again. You're just thrown back out into the reality, and you know, no one's looking after you and planning your day, and no, you're not going to do a gig, and there's not going to be any applause, and you know, it just feels very Spartan, doesn't it? In a way, your life feels a bit. I mean, you get luckily there's the joy of getting home and seeing your family, and you know, familiar surroundings of home, and the luxuries of just being able to do your laundry when you want, and simple things like that. But definitely, this time particularly, since it was our first tour since 2019, and possibly, you know, other overbearing circumstances, really did feel very much untethered from my preferred reality at the end there. Yeah. Which was a difficult one. Like you say, Mr. T, you even I find myself thinking every note almost I'm playing in that Berlin show. I'm aware this is the last time I'm going to play this, you know, pre-chorus of War Shadow. This is the last time this is the last note I'm gonna play on PD. As I approached that last chord, I felt this overwhelming sense of, you know, happiness and sadness all in the same instant. Really, it was a very powerful day, I think. For all of us,
well, I mean,
Yes.
you always get very sad towards the end of a tour, Guy. You know, you are the band's sadness at the end of a tour. you do take it. You do take it pretty harshly. I remember on the last day of the tour, I preemptively struck the pack down of my own stuff because I had to take it to the studio in advance because we had to go and get some more records for the Berlin show from the studio.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the chance to pack up most of my stuff from the bus, get it to the studio, and then pick up the records, bring it back. And then at the end of the show, and everyone's fooling and stuff, having a good time, we have to separate all of our gear into where it's going. So we have different coloured stickers on our gear to say, okay, this stuff's going to the airport, this stuff's going to Finn's studio, this stuff's staying in the trailer to go back to the rental. And everyone's got to clean out the bus, so all of your little wherever you've put your scented candles or hoodies or wherever it is, get them out. I left my flip-flops on the bus, unfortunately. So we have to kind of stick stickers on everything. So now everything's in my studio pretty much, apart from the gear rental, which went back to Holland, and all of the gear. I tidied it up yesterday, so it's not just dumped there. It's all in order, which is nice.
Including merch, right?
I haven't done the merch tally yet. Haven't done the count, but it's all there. I just went through all the drums and bass stuff and guitars and. Because I'm prepping for Australia already, so I'm already going through the guitars, changing batteries, changing strings, cleaning stuff, going through my boxes. So yeah, I'm already in that mix. After this, I do my chiropractic and then I go back up there. So but dismantling a tour, it was actually quite nice in a way. The Berlin show was so big, we did our thing, and then
we did a good show. It was definitely a good one.
We did a great show.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Yeah. Loved it.
And I think
absolutely loved every second of it.
I think our guests that night, we made it quite clear, this is the last night of the tour and that's great, but we haven't finished yet. We have a lot to do. I mean, I didn't get home until like 2:30 or 3 in the morning after doing all the runs and getting everything done and packing stuff down. So it was still after the show, which ended at like 11, there was still a long haul to go. But
I felt bad because Hauke, our wonderful German agent, and his organisation, they bought us all personalised bottles of Veuve Clicquot champagne.
They did.
and massive boxes of donuts. And I mean, I think we were as grateful as we definitely were to receive all this stuff, but I did feel a bit boring because we didn't all immediately want to have loads of champagne after the show, because number one, we'd got all this stuff to do, and number two, we're a little bit kind of pathetic these days. Like, I can't really drink very much anymore.
No,
I did. I tried on the donuts. I put real work in on the donuts.
Did you? That's good.
To work through those.
Yeah, but I just sort of thought, oh no, these people want us all to have a party, and it didn't really happen quite that way. But I think we did. We joined in with a toast and stuff like that. But I think But I've got my personalised bottle of Fink champagne at home now, so I'll have that at some point soon.
Yeah, me too. It's got my
it's
face.
got your face on it,
which is great. But I think the warning to our guests that we wouldn't be partying too hard maybe it was a bit too efficient in terms of everybody took that warning to heart, and so
backstage was practically deserted afterwards. You mean?
Well, that's good.
Exactly.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. We had stuff to do. You're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right.
I would love to end the tour not where I live. Just once.
Yeah.
And not on your birthday. Normally we end up finishing with the worst, most stressful gig on your birthday was tradition, wasn't it? Happy birthday, Finn. Here's a massive show in London.
Exactly.
That was the tradition.
I was just going to ask, on that note, I'm just wondering if anyone has a memory of what was the best last night of a tour we've ever had. I'm trying to think.
Okay, I got one. It was the night when we finished a gig in Holland. It was the Resurgam run.
Yeah.
And we added 2 extra dates.
In Paard van Troy
finished...
in The Hague.
Yeah, the gig itself was absolutely fantastic. I remember that. It was a good one.
I think my favorite end of tour gig was probably Clermont-Ferrand in France when we finished the Perfect Darkness tour.
Oh, that was Massey.
Massey, sorry.
Massey. I know exactly the one. There's a good photo of us, I think.
There's a photo of it in the Wheels booklet. Yeah, it just felt like a long one, and we'd made it to the end, and there'd been plenty of shenanigans, including a little run to Ireland as well, which threw a lot of in splitters and stuff, which was really intense. And
wound its way, that tour. It was, and there was a bus breakdown
really
and all sorts of
all
bits
that
and bobs. Yeah,
but that was my favourite tour ending. Massey, strange choice. But as we dismantled our tour on this one, we've done it in many times, haven't we? We know the routines now, how to dismantle, how to get home, and how to get out of the routines of touring. It's like, the first couple of days are really tough. You're very tired, and you're very you're still on alert for a gig. Or a sound check or something, and there isn't one. So just all of a sudden in your evenings, you're normally supposed to be jacking up, getting ready for 9 o'clock to go for it and do 90 minutes of cardio and be doing it. And now all of a sudden you're not. So it's kind of a bit weird. So
definitely.
I'm still a little bit there. I'm still a little bit.
And also particularly as you've got to start again quite soon, haven't you? In Australia.
Yeah, rehearsals start for Australia this afternoon. So I know. But I'm not really. It's not really a team prepares. It's just me on my own. So it's just
prepared.
Me prepares. So it's also, but it's the same gear. I just got to clean it and get rid of all the excess nonsense for Australia with the because they're quite strict. But to say goodbye to the team, that's always very sad as well, isn't it? Because you become quite a tight little unit, irrelevant of the size of the tour or the size of the gigs. It could be just we got attached to our splitter van when we were doing the Med run. I remember taking that back quite sadly. And, Lucy did amazing on the merch, and Ash was amazing TM, and Rob was great front of house, and everybody just did great. And
definitely. It was very good team actually. This time there was a real closeness, and you can tell how close you get when a sort of catchphrase travels around the team really quickly, and we all started doing this stupid impersonation of Rob, bless him. And you just get the same little in jokes go around really quickly, and everyone knows what everyone's doing. And the one thing I thought was really sweet, which happened a couple of times during the tour, but definitely happened in Berlin, was when Finnegan sends a message to the WhatsApp group going, "Where is everyone?" So he's obviously arrived backstage like before the gig, and someone's off having a nap, someone's off doing this, someone's gone there, and he's just like, "Oh, everyone's gone. Where is everyone?" I thought that was really cute. That was such a nice thing, that he's got that attached to the group of people that he's like, "Oh no."
But so is this the end of our Tour Diaries podcast then? Is this episode 7? Is that the end, Mr. Tim?
Well, we just had a little chat before about maybe doing one in Australia.
Okay, so maybe episode 8 will be the upside down, the upside down episode.
I think it should. Yeah, I think we should do that. We should interview you, and and then you can tell us about your adventures so far. That'll be really interesting because it'll be us discovering it for the first time.
Okay, that sounds a delight. Episode 8 will be the upside down moment. I don't know what was it in Stranger Things. What was the other world called?
The upside down. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go. We'll do that.
I'll say this, mate. If you go for a walk, Finn, remember to wear some sort of footwear this time. Don't burn your feet in Australia again. Remember to treat every animal like it wants to kill you. Like every animal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
That's true, man. When I walked around Bondi Beach barefoot was really stupid, and I did blister my feet beyond all recognition and have to squelch around the rest of that Aussie tour. But and also me and Tim went for a walk in Melbourne that turned out to be much longer than we thought, and it was like a 20-kilometre round trip.
Tim always does that. I've known for years. If Tim has invited me to join him on one of his meanderings around a city for the last 18 years or so, and the default answer is hell no. Not because I don't enjoy the cities or Mr. T. It's just that he's so relentless in his pursuit of experience that I'm too lazy for it. Halfway through, I'm just dead. I need a cab home.
I do remember when we did a gig in Cologne once, and we were in a hotel on the other side of the river from the city centre. And I said, come on, Guy, let's go and explore Cologne. And you said, all right, I'll come. And then we walked like all of 5 minutes to the edge of the bridge that goes over the Rhine to the city centre. But it is a fucking big bridge. And you just took one look at the bridge and you just went, sorry, man, I don't think I can do this.
You see?
I was like,
see?
we haven't even fucking started yet.
We've been friends long enough that I don't need to pretend anymore. I don't need to be like,
That's
oh
true.
yeah, this is awesome. You know, I was fully entitled to go, nah, actually, this is a terrible plan. Eating chocolate in my bunk with the curtains drawn, watching a movie is a much better way to spend a day.
It's a much better plan, yeah.
Yeah, some days it is.
Very
some
true.
days it is.
So, a team Dismantles. We are Dismantled. Tim in London, me in Berlin, Guy in Tadley. That's it.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.